What's up, Southeast Michigan podcast? We are back at it, the week of March 24th, 2024. It is currently the 26th, Tuesday, as of this recording. Thank you for joining me back here for another edition. The Southeast Michigan podcast is free and available wherever you listen or watch. Up on YouTube now, so go ahead and click the bell, subscribe if you could. And wherever you listen, could you please hit us up with a 5-star review? That would be just dandy, much appreciated. A lot to get to. I always say this is the time of year where it's slow for college football, at least. But there's been a lot going on. Obviously, we have the whole new revamped coaching staff, stuff like that, and couple days into spring practice, and we still don't have a D-line coach, and we'll get into all that in a second. But it was an eventful Tuesday. Michigan announced its new head ball coach, and so things are looking up in some areas. So, like I said, jam-packed. We're going to try to cram this in as much as fast as we can to keep it timely. But let's see here in segment one, we'll touch some news and notes. So real quickly, we talked about last couple of weeks now here with Greg Scruggs. So Greg Scruggs, defensive line coach, coming over from Wisconsin, left Luke Fickell to team up with Sharon Moore. Obviously, didn't work out. We had a incident with an OWI, and he was suspended indefinitely for the investigation that was going on internally, and it was out that he was twice the legal limit, and Sharon Moore and Greg Scruggs basically mutually parting ways here. Scruggs resigning, so I'm not sure if he's going to take the year off from coaching, to kind of reassess everything like that. So it's unfortunate because he's a young guy, just got out of the NFL a few years ago, and has been getting his hand in the coaching profession. So having something like that was very crucial and vital, in my opinion. And unfortunately, Michigan is now going to be getting into spring ball here without that position coach working things out. I mean, I'm sure they have an assistant or two out there already, kind of getting their hands on the kids practice wise. I'm sure Wink Martindale's throwing a piece of advice here and there. You know what I mean? But I'm sure not all is lost, but it hurts. It stings not having the guy there, and kind of late in the game here with all that crap going on. Next, Michigan wide receiver Carmelo English. He is not on the spring roster, so planning on to enter the portal himself when that reopens up next month. The only guys in college football who can enter the portal at this moment are grad assistants who have or grads who have 1 year eligibility left. They can get in there now. Hence, wide receiver and special teamer Iman Dennis also parting ways with the program. So he's actually officially in the portal. Carmelo English is not, but he is not on the roster. So kind of a bummer because Carmelo English was really gearing up for some big time playing moments this year, right? Caught a touchdown last season, and you know, obviously playing behind Roman Wilson and Tyler Morris and Cornelius Johnson. But like I said, this was the season for him to really push the 2 or the 3 spot. I mean, I guess really anything's up for grabs, but they are very thin at wideout, and so one would assume that they go after a wide receiver or 2 in the portal. Now, it doesn't have to be a superstar. It would help, but I don't think they're going to go after a superstar. But it would definitely, get a little pizzazz in the name would do some good. And then regarding hoops, Doug McDaniel, Yusuf Kayet, Terrace Reed, George Washington III, they've all entered the portal now. Washington said that he is willing to come back given the opportunity to do so under Dusty May, and if they vibe and gel well. So it remains to be seen. We'll get into some Dusty May stuff here right now, but he was introduced today, Tuesday at 11 a.m. If I can figure out how to put the link in the description from the interview he did on Florida Atlantic's like sports radio. WTKA put it out there this morning on Spotify, so probably find it there. But I'll put it in the description box here as well. He gave kind of like a farewell exit interview, if you will, on the sports radio down there, and very very well spoken. Sounds like a really class act. Basically, thanking anybody he could on the way out. Colleagues, the players, the staff, everybody, and he's ready to work in Ann Arbor. And there's not any really like Michigan program ties. He's not a Wolverine. His alma mater is Indiana. He's an Indiana Hoosier. He's 47 years old. He graduated from Indiana University in 2000. And then after that, he got into coaching at Eastern Michigan. He was an assistant from 05 and 06. So he lived in Ypsilanti. He's been around near Ann Arbor for several years. His youngest child was born here in Ann Arbor. So, again, very familiar with the area, but he took a different road to come back here. I want to say come back home, but come back this way. So he went to Murray State as an assistant for a couple years. So in a couple years at UAB, 2009 and 2015, an assistant in Louisiana Tech. Then he was a Florida Gator assistant for a few years. Then got the job at Florida Atlantic in 2018 and finished up 2024 as an Owl. Overall record, he's 126 and 69, so 64% record. And over the last 2 years in Boca Raton, he has been above 80% win percentage there. Now, regarding Florida Atlantic, I thought it would be worthy to go through this real quick. So, the Florida Atlantic basketball team has only been around since 1993, 1994, and the first few years, this program was a basement dweller. I mean, really, for almost its entirety, it has, until Dusty May came along here. So, the prior coach to Dusty was Michael Curry. Michael Curry began there in 2014 and went 9 and 20, 8 and 25. Sounds like Juwan Howard. 10 and 20, 12 and 19, and then Dusty May comes in 2018, goes 17 and 16, 17 and 15, 13 and 10, 19 and 15, and then gets to the Final Four last season, goes 35 and 4, and then this year loses in the first round at 25 and 9. So the Final Four run, he was a 9th seed in that tournament. The final poll got the Owls at 25. The highest they reached in the polls that season was 19th. And then going into this season, they were pre-ranked at 10 preseason wise, and then they got as high as 7. And of course, they're going to finish unranked this time around. But Dusty May obviously turning around the Owls with limited resources, and like I said, in a basically, bottom dwellers, right? Now he was asked questions, of course, in his press conference today. It doesn't sound like there's anything guaranteed right now. There's a lot going on. He just finished a tournament run with this team. Has to move his family. Has to hit the recruiting trail. Like his phone is probably constantly on charge. It's going to be a busy next couple weeks for him and his family. So, but if you go back to YouTube or wherever you watch it, you can watch the press conference. But very enjoyable. Get hyped, and the best thing a new coach can do is get that first impression out there, and kind of wear his heart on his sleeve, and kind of try to win over um, the fans and the alums and everything like that. Um, and put out that positive, bright look on the future stuff. Wants to win right away, and open to whether that's you know um, dipping in the portal and recruiting the high school prospects as well. So a little mixture of both. He likes young guys, he likes the continuity, he likes the players to come in as a recruiting class and work their way up, rather than overturning a new roster every single year. Some programs do that. You got, used to have the one and dones and stuff like that. Um, so, as me personally, I like a coach who pushes continuity. That's how I am with, like the football team, like the coaching staff, the assistants, everything like that. You know, as a Raiders and Michigan fan, the last few years, I've seen both my teams kind of fluctuate. Um, with guys coming and going, not necessarily the head coach, right? Like I said, the assistants, and sometimes I want them to stay put. Like Mike McDonald, 1 year rental. Jesse Minner wants to be back in the NFL. NFL, fine, but when you guys have so much overturn, it's sometimes where it bothers me a little bit. But I'm just a fan. Obviously, I have nothing I can do about it. But like I said, I like Dusty May's vision, like that continuity stuff. That's music to my ears. So we'll see what happens. It'll be very. I mean, as much as this basketball team, as much as they went through this season, I'd be really, really, I'd be really happy if these guys came back, especially McDaniel and Reed. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. We will get to more of the hoop stuff here if I didn't already really touch on it now. We'll get to it in the next segment here. I just wanted to give my opinions on Dusty May. But the last time we had an episode, was it last week? I didn't. I mean, like, I didn't know who. I couldn't even give you a name, right? John Beeline was thrown out there, and I had made a comment that just like comedy sequels, they don't always tend to work out after the original was so good. And again, John Beeline is 72 years old right now. I just don't think the timing is there now. Of like, he was still coaching here and he was 72, I'd be like, you know he's here, he's got another 5 years, but you don't want to bring him in and get you back to where it is and then have to hang it up again. To me, that just wouldn't feel right. So real quick here, before we do move on, I'll read you this. I'll read you this Dusty May quote. So, um, on what makes Michigan special. This is the one place where everywhere you go, the pride, the respect, and admiration for that Block M shows. The brand of Michigan. I've never been at another university that has as much pride as every alum, student, or whoever I come across has a place like this. So that was that. And then John Beeline tweeted out, it's exciting to see Coach Dusty May as the men's basketball coach at University of Michigan basketball. He has had great success as a head coach and an assistant, and has worked hard for many years for this fabulous opportunity. Anytime he asks, I will be available to help him. Congrats, Dusty, Anna, and family. Go Blue. Then next, Dusty was again. I got ahead of myself here, so bear with me. But Dusty May was asked, or comments that John Beeline has a role with the program if he wants it, whether it's you know assistant or quality control, whatever. But he goes, quote, whatever role he wants, I'm going to embrace it. But they have a mutual respect and they have a connection. to each other. So that's why that was brought up, and again, that's why John Beeline had mentioned him on the internet on X. So that's really what I got for that. Again, Dusty May is going to have his work cut out for him. Only where but up. Taking over an 8-win team. But there's a few pieces from that team that can be coached up and turned around. And like I said, there's going to be Doug McDaniel and Terrace Reed. And this press conference, he was asked, he's like, basically everyone is always going to want to know what philosophy you're going to roll out there. And, basically it's just going to be play together, play hard, play as a unit, cohesively, all that stuff like that. So the details aren't necessarily out there, or with his words. But if you look at his teams or whatever, on paper, points given up to the other team, points allowed. So their defense is fairly good. They're usually around the mid 60s. And I think this year they jumped up to 73, so they went from 65 to 73 from the Final Four run to this season. But, a lot can be turned and swayed a little bit there because of the talent level. And like I said, when he comes to Michigan, he'll have more doors opening for him, hopefully. Obviously, we have the admissions issue. That's going to probably wrap it up, like I said, for segment 1. Segment 2, we'll get into Michigan football and Michigan hockey. Don't go nowhere. All right, Southeast Michigan podcast. When our community wins with us, we want to ensure you've maximized your ROI. Line shopping for the best odds matters, and that is why any profitable sports bettor needs to be using multiple sports books. Thankfully, there's never been a better time to get signed up, and we're here to connect you with the best promotions industry-wide using our link, signupexpert.com/southeast. You can get access to all the sports books in your region along with a review of each platform and its unique features. Most importantly, each page automatically connects you to the top promotions at each book, allowing you to start line shopping with an enhanced bankroll. If you want to take advantage of these benefits and support our brand, please consider signing up for your next sportsbook at signupexpert.com/southeast. Again, if you're watching the screen right now, Caesar Sportsbook, you can get up to $1,000 back in bet credits, match deposit bonus up to $1,000 on DraftKings, $1,500 back in bet credits on MGM. Bet Rivers is giving you $500 back in bet credits, and FanDuel, of course, doing the 5 for $150. Prize Picks, 100 deposit match up to $100, and of course, Wheel of Fortune Casino, Stars Casino, World Series of Poker, always fun to dabble with if you like to play those type of games. Again, you get to $100 in free plays, $150 in bonus play for new users. And then on Wheel of Fortune Casino, deposit match up to 100% to $2,500 plus $25 in bonuses. So again, signupexpert.com/southeast. Take advantage of it right now before the March Madness tournament ends. Get into it. I just got into it in the first round of the tournament. Came really, really close to getting it, but Baylor busted my over. But I got myself into more than one sports book, so I did win to kind of balance everything out. Anyways, check it out, fellas. Ladies, too. All right, back for segment 2, talking Michigan football and hockey. So, yes, it was kind of a heartbreaker losing to East Lansing. Michigan hockey falling short. They just did not have the stuff to close it out. Going into the game, I think within the first 59 seconds, Frank Nazar scores. Michigan's up 1-0, and like we previewed last episode, Michigan was 1-3 against the Spartans on the season. It was a 1-3-1, and the first matchup they did win in EL. They won 7-1, but after that, John Nightingale and the Spartans kind of figured them out and took care of their business. So, like I said, yeah, Frank Nazar goes up 1-0 early, and then Gavin Brindley shortly after that scores another goal. However, they call that back and for interference. So you go back to 1-0, and then it was kind of a boxing match, trading blows. Michigan would control the game, then Michigan State would. Michigan would control the game, then Michigan State would. And then going into the third and final period, down 4-3. Michigan knocks it up at 4. They go to overtime, and they play some just intense hockey. Like from the beginning of the third period to the end and overtime, I was pacing the house. I was not sitting down. It was just it was a good old fashioned hockey game. But the huge momentum swing was the Gavin Brindley goal that was called back. Now, when that first went in, I mean, you could hear a pin drop in that arena, and then of course when they took the point off the board, it kind of rejuvenated the crowd a little bit. But Michigan State, they just play really good hockey. Their fourth line scored 2 goals, and Michigan is just not as deep as Michigan State. Michigan State uses a lot more players. Michigan kind of likes to roll their superstars out there and get up on you early. And if they can't get on you early, it's going to be a long day. Now, Jake Barczewski, despite giving up 5 goals, played out of his mind. Played out of his mind. Michigan, in 1 or 2, maybe 3 instances, did not set him up well. He was one-on-one on a breakaway, saved it. It's just the way it's fallen this year. So Michigan State becomes or gets their first outright Big Ten conference championship and tournament championship all in the same year, and it's pretty impressive. But Michigan, they had another goal that was Michigan State had 1 goal that probably shouldn't have counted. Barczewski had it underneath his leg, a skate, for at least 2 to 3 seconds, and then someone bumped it in afterwards. So it should have been blown dead, the play dead for a face-off, but alas, it was not. And that goal, I believe that was in the second period, that really kind of propelled the momentum shift there. But um, yeah, Michigan hockey just could not capitalize. So now they go, was it 1-4 now on the year against Michigan State? But they have an opportunity to avenge kind of how the season's going here. So I'll turn on the webcam, or not the webcam. I'll turn on the browser here for you. And that was obviously the game that just happened. But we're going over here to the tournament. See on your screen here, we got our 16 teams. Top left corner here, we got Boston College, the #1 overall seed, taking on Michigan Tech. This all takes on, let's see, um, Friday and Saturday this weekend. So, let's see here. I take that back. No, Friday. So Friday and Sunday here. If you get in the second round, it'll be playing on Sunday. So here on the 29th, Michigan is going to be taking on North Dakota at 8:30 at what arena was this at? Was it in Maryland? Give me a second. Give me a second. Nope, I already lost it. They're playing at the same arena though as Michigan State. Michigan State is taking on Western Michigan, and with that, the two powerhouses could potentially face off against each other. So Michigan State is going to take on the Broncos at 5 p.m. Friday, and then Michigan will take on the Fighting Sioux afterwards. So, or sorry, the Fighting Hawks rather. Now, the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, 26-11 over the season here. They 19-4 at home. I thought that was pretty interesting. But they played a pretty solid year. They took on Wisconsin, beat them earlier in the year. They beat Minnesota. They beat Boston University multiple times. They took on Minnesota Duluth. Bemidji State kind of turned it around this year. They took care of them. They beat Denver. They beat Omaha. They beat St. Cloud State. Um, they did lose in their regional, their conference semifinals to Omaha. So they swept Miami 5-1 and 7-1, and then they end up losing to Omaha 3-6. Who Omaha is going to be taking on Minnesota on Thursday. So again, Michigan's going to have a tough test here against the Fighting Hawks. I don't think this team is. I've said it before. I don't think this team is going to be very built for a deep run here at all. If they get by North Dakota, I don't think they're going to get by Michigan State, assuming the Spartans win. If somehow Western Michigan can upset the Spartans, um, man, I'd be really, really happy for the Wolverines. But I just don't think it's going to be in the cards. So again, Boston College, Michigan Tech on Friday. Wisconsin's taking on Quinnipiac as well. Uh, number 3 seed Denver taking on Massachusetts on Thursday, along with Cornell and Maine. And then Boston, the 2 seed, takes on, oh Jesus, I can't ever, Robert Morris Institute, I believe. I can't ever remember that name or that what RIT is. And then Minnesota versus Omaha on Thursday. So Thursday technically sets off here on the first round, and then we'll play through the weekends. Hopefully Michigan um, can get as far as they can, obviously, but hopefully they can get a chance to play Michigan State again one more time and to win a game that matters. Now, I'm not saying that the other ones don't, but um, obviously the ultimate prize is the Natty. Uh, let's see here, just for the gigs though, like so you can't even see it on here because I got the damn screen in the way. So right here, like even if Michigan gets by North Dakota and Michigan State, I think they're just going to get absolutely waxed uh, by at least 3 of these 4 teams up here in this left corner here. But there it is. So came to an unfortunate end. I think the Wolverines have a really good opportunity next year to have another watchable, another good year. The big question mark will be goaltender. I don't know for sure on the recruiting class if they got someone coming in. I think they do. The funny thing is Trey Augustine, Michigan State's goaltender, was a Michigan commit at one point and then flipped when Nightingale took over. But that is definitely going to be a must need, and it's absolutely crazy to know that just another year of Michigan having these ridiculous scores, leading like again 5 guys lead the conference in points, and they just seemingly just fall short each time. And that's why I'm really happy that Michigan football won the Natty, because I before the game against Washington, I just said like Michigan is just the king of runner up, whether it's the big 3 sports, men's basketball, football, and hockey. It's just like they just fall short every time, and luckily the football program got over that hump, and now the hoops and hockey need to do that too, because it's been since 97, 98 since Michigan hockey won the national championship. So um, that's about it for uh, for the boys on the ice. Again, Friday night, 8:30. Let's hope that well, I guess my fanboy side is hoping that Western wins, but my bitterness side wants MSU to win so we can take them down. All right, moving on. Enough of that. We're gonna kind of end on more of a bitter note here. Is Michigan lost one of their anchors on defense, and if you're listening or watching this, you already know what I'm talking about. Rod Moore, safety Rod Moore, suffered a non-contact ACL tear. on Sunday night. I guess they were kind of waiting to wait and see on the MRI if it was as serious as they thought, and he is now going to be a 6 to 8 month time window. Now, with modern medicine, 6 to 8 months is doable, but you never know how the guy comes back mentally. You never know how everyone's body's different. You never know how they're going to do. Uh, we've seen guys take about a year. We've seen guys come back rather quickly, like Cam Akers obliterated his Achilles, and then 6 months later is running between the tackles. Um, Now Aaron Rodgers didn't get into a game, but I mean he took enough shrooms to alter his healing process or speed it up a little bit and starts out getting back to practice at least, right? But you know what I mean. It's just it all depends on the player, and it just sucks because one, it's a position of need. Two, it's a leader of your team and defense, and it's just a guy that could have gone pro, but wins the national championship, comes back, tries to improve his draft stock, and then it just seemingly, just he gets a bad draw. So hopefully, Rod Moore has a healthy and safe and quick recovery. And I want to also really quick say it was really nice to see Ohio State fans on Twitter today. Um, excuse me, show support and kindness to Rod Moore and the news of his leg and stuff like that. It was really nice to read. There was a couple dolts out there, as there is for every fan base, but like 99.99999% of Ohio State fans today quote tweeted or did something to to show their condolences to Rod Moore. So that was really cool to see, and it's seeing that sometimes like obviously something tragic like this happens, but it's also refreshing to know that people can put the rivalry aside for 5 minutes and kind of just tip the ball cap. So what else do I have here on the list? Donovan Edwards is up 14 pounds, and Mason Graham is continuing to reiterate that he's not transferring. So obviously Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant are on the want and needs list for a lot of other teams, but they're not transferring. I don't see anyone else entering the portal per se. Obviously, the Carmelo English one's a little bit of a shocker, but wide receiver and safety are going to be a position at need here. And like I said at the top, whether it's you know guys are gonna new faces are gonna have to step up this year. That's hands down. Regardless, that's gonna have to happen. But to get someone in the portal for depth is gonna be absolutely a must need. Like I said, for the wide receivers, you don't have to go out and get a superstar. Um, but they're definitely they got to get a lot. They got to get like if they get one guy who's like a 2 year starter. That's where I'd begin the process. Now I haven't even had a chance to look at who's out there. Um, you'd figure to be probably maybe another Big Ten team, after another Big Ten wide receiver that's out there. Um, and who knows? Like you could also if you go into the season a little light-handed there. I mean, you could use Loveland in multiple ways and start bringing up these younger guys. People forget that Zach Marshall from California for a couple years ago, like the state of California. Um, he was I would say highly touted, but he was highly regarded by Jim Harbaugh. So like, maybe he steps up and makes a name for himself. But um, you got weapons. You got weapons, and the safeties. That late addition a couple years ago in that class, they flipped from Notre Dame, Brandon Hillman. Um, it's his time to shine. The good news, I guess, with this whole situation, Rod Moore is, Quentin Johnson withdrew his name from the NFL draft. So he's back for a final year, 6th year, I believe. So you have experience there, and if you rewatch this past season, he made a lot of key plays himself. You know, the whole back end did. Um, so Again, sucks that Keon Sabb isn't here because we'd probably be sweating a little bit less. But like I said, Quinn Johnson should hold it down. But these dudes are going to step up and make us believe. That's really all I have about right now at this moment. Like, yeah, just looking at the roster, man. Wide receiver and safety are pretty thin. But I think that's gonna wrap it up. Like I said, I want to try to keep this short and sweet. I think we're about just over a half an hour. But like, share, subscribe. Again, rate us 5 stars if you can, and check the links in the description box below. Head over to the Facebook page, follow us there. You can follow me up on Twitter. That's also um, right here on the home screen. If you can see right here at semipod _ SEMIPOD. And I'll see you guys probably back next week. I know I've been kind of light on the documentary reviews. I was really hoping to do more this winter with more time on my hands, but it turns out I just didn't. But we're going to try to get a couple more out there before the spring is over. And of course, we'll come back here for any more news, especially regarding the big three, like we talk about all the time: football, hockey, and basketball. All right, you guys, have a good week. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.